guys, 90 Rev back again. Here today we are in the beautiful town of Bassano de Grappa. It's basically a town that's close to the, I'd say maybe at the base of the mountains, starting a little bit in the Alps. Not exactly the Alps, but let's just say the starting of the Alps. And as you can see behind me here, we have the beautiful Ponte Vecchio. And the thing is that today I wanted to start this video on top of the Ponte Vecchio, but the problem is that they're doing some construction and it's not so beautiful to look at, which I'll show you guys later. I'll show you guys that. But in the meantime, the video today and the topic that we're going to be talking about is tobacco products and the laws that have been changed here in Italy ever since 2005 in regards to tobacco. So winding back the time clock here, if you were to go to Italy back before 2005, let's just say that in any restaurant, bar, discotheque, club, any public place, basically, you were able to smoke, in the sense that you were able to literally just take out a cigarette and smoke, and they had ashtrays and whatnot and everything. Instead, after 2005, the laws changed basically, and they said, you know, we don't want people smoking in public places anymore. And get this, you would go to a club, and I'm talking, you know, you would have fun, listen to music, dance and everything, but when you came back, your clothes, I mean, you would have to wash your whole wardrobe or whatever clothes you had on that night, you know, because it would smell like smoke. And that's one of the main reasons why here in Italy, after 2005, they took away the right to smoke in a public place, like restaurants and things like that, because usually here in Italy, you have a nice dinner or something like that, and then you smoke. I mean, for whoever likes smoking, basically. And I gotta say that one thing that really that really changed Italy in that sense is that ever since the smoking ban on places on the inside came up, people have stopped smoking. I mean, we've been recorded a 50% reduction in people that smoke. But today, I'm not here to talk about tobacco in the sense of cigarette tobacco. We're talking about, I personally, I'm a cigar lover, so I'm today going to talk about a little bit about some of the cigar brands and some of the types of cigars that you can buy here in Italy, including Cuban cigars, which I'll show you in the video coming up right now. But and then later I'll take you on a tour to show you the rest of Bassano, if you will. Right now it's basically a little bit past 7, I think. Usually here in Italy, Italians usually eat from like 7 to 10 o'clock at night. They're kind of late eaters, so it's just different than other countries. It might be the same depending on where you're from, but I mean, in general, that's the way it goes. You know, you have a nice dinner with friends, you smoke a nice cigar or something, you know, with a cafe, or, you know, with a little coffee or something, or, you know, that's the usual. I'm going to leave you guys with a video here explaining the kinds of tobacco that you can find here in Italy, and then I'm just going to take you on a visual tour of Bassano de Grappa, home of how do you say, grappa. I'm not going to be talking about that today. I'll save it for another episode. Maybe if this video right here hits 100 views, then I'll probably think about, you know, making a video talking about grappa, Bassano, because me personally, I do drink, but I don't drink as much as I used to, and when I used to drink, I used to be rather next to rowdy people, so rowdy bars and things like that. So I mean, even though we're in Bassano, I mean, you'll still find some really rowdy people here, and I'm not really sure if they want to be on cam, so I might set a future date for that to talk about the grappa and wine, obviously, and things like that. But in the meantime, here's a short video to talk about the kinds of tobacco in regards of cigars and things like that that you can buy legally here in Italy. So just to put it in view here to show you how many different kinds of brands of cigars we got here in Italy, I'm going to start off first by introducing the smaller cigars first, and then we're going to move on to like the Cuban cigars and all the other kinds of cigars that you can buy here in Italy. So first off, I have to say, and this is just my personal collection of boxes and tubes of cigars that I've smoked in the past. I've been smoking cigars for a long time, so I have a lot of boxes and lots of tubes from old cigars that I smoked. So starting off, you have your original Meheris. These are really good, produced in Holland. They're from Holland. They're imported. As you can see, it's just regular, box, cigars. So these are regulars, and you have your mild and sweets, which have a little bit of a vanilla aroma to it, and these are pretty good though too. Usually small cigarillos like this are usually good, like if you're taking a work break or you have your coffee and stuff like that. And speaking of coffee, we have the cafe creme. These are really famous here in Italy though too, because you have your Oriental and your regular cafe creme. This is a little bit stronger, this is lighter. It's just regular cigars, and these two are from Holland. As you can see, these are from Holland. Let me open up so you can see one of these, how they look like on the inside. These are pretty good cigars too. So moving on, we have sweets. These are really good cigars. I love these. They have a particular taste to them. I mean, everyone has their own, their own preferences. Blues here, some vanilla tasting cigars. I love these. They're still around. You can still find these here. Also, these are from Holland though too, and you can find stuff like the Mini Ke. These are like little cigarillos that were in here. Really good brand, also from Holland. And you can find these ones. I don't think you can find these anymore because they were like a special series that they did for the tabaccerias here in Italy. And they had Coca-Cola flavored, they had vanilla, they had chocolate, because right here it's written cola. I don't know if you can see that, but so it's moving on. Wild Havana, these are like a kind of a rip-off, I would say, in the sense of like, but at the same time, I mean, it just depends on what you like. These are from Holland though too. These are not Cuban. So go back to Primo from Wilhelm. These are from Holland right here. These were pretty good. So moving on, we have some French cigars. These were imported to Italy. Longchamp, if you want to see the name. I usually bought these during the when New Year's Eve hit. Basically, I would smoke one cigar before New Year's Eve and one cigar after. That was kind of the story why I have these. But anyway, moving on to another one of Henry Winterman, and this one is called Corona Deluxe. This is a different. Basically, they're all empty. These are just from my old collection. So this is from Holland though too. This is pretty good. It's okay. Moving on, we have Moods. If you ever get your hands on Moods, these are some really good cigars because these are licorice flavor cigars. They're from Dennemans. I don't know if you guys can read that, but Dennemans. And these are really good cigars, as I said before. They're licorice flavor. These are really good. So moving on, we have Constellation and Independence. And these are really particular cigars because the fact that they were produced at the time, both of them at the same time, and I can't remember where these are from. Let me check because I can't remember if they were Dominican Republic or if they, German. Okay, they're German. Yeah, I forgot. Sorry about that. Because basically, German, and these were imported, and these are pretty good though. This Independence was vanilla flavored, and then this one was a little bit more spicier. It's like a spicy kind of cigar. And you'll notice that they're a little bit longer than most usual cigars compared to a regular, Corona, so to speak. So, yeah. So getting rid of this, let me moving on to other Cuban cigars. I know you guys want to see that, so moving on. Okay, so moving on here, I'm gonna first show you some cigars that are particularly interesting here. These are Mexican cigars. They're called Executivos. And the cool thing about these cigars, I don't know if they're still around. I don't think they are because I haven't seen them. They have Kahlua flavor. You can see right there on the writing, it's written Kahlua flavor. These were really good. Just to show you some other stuff, this is another Mexican kind of cigar that you can buy, and they're called Santa Clara. And these are really, really good. These were a little bit more spicier compared to Cuban cigars. And as you can see, it's just a regular box. You know, it had, I think, 10 cigars in here, I think. There's still a little piece of a cigar in there. I guess I left that in there. And yeah, I have some bands in here too. Let's see what we got. This one is Ornelas Matinee. I totally forgot when I smoked this one. And then let's see what else we got in here. These are the bands for the Santa Claras. Let me see if I can get a bigger one here, show you. They had a bigger Santa Clara ones. Yeah, okay, you can see this one pretty good. But anyway, there it is right there. Santa Clara from Mexico. And I really like these cigars. Like I said before, these are like more spicier as a cigar, and they came in this beautiful box, as you can see here, made in Mexico. These are really amazing cigars. These are good. So I'm going to move this to the side here. Next, I have to go into the Cuban cigars. And usually here in Italy, when you go to a Cuban cigar place, they give you like the little pamphlets basically sometimes that have all the pricing. So just in case you don't want to buy like a single cigar, like a tube or something, you can buy like full boxes so that way you can bring it back home basically. So here's just a little pricing for different kinds of cigars. You got your Partagas, Montecristo, your Romeo Julietas, your Humpman, Joyo de Monterrey, Cohibas, Cuaba. I'm sorry if the pronunciation, I'm kind of killing it there, but anyway, you see as in the back, it's sponsored by, you know, Habanos. So moving on here, let me put this away. So you got your usual Cohibas, as usual. Cohibas are pretty much, you can find these anywhere. These are empty. These are, I smoked these years ago. So moving on, put this back in here. And Montecristo. You have your Montecristos. I got a little bit of a mess in here. I don't know what happened. I'm not going to go into that. Put this tobacco back in there. I don't know what happened in there. Guess I got messed up. And you have some good other brands though too, like Cow, for example. I miss these. These are really good. These are special edition. I really miss these cigars, and most people were asking me, you know, how come I don't keep these in humidifiers and things like that? Because me, I'm a person that if I have a Cuban cigar, I'll smoke it. I don't really believe in like keeping collections and stuff. So this is Cow again, if you want to see the Odyssey. The Cow Odyssey. These were really good because, in my opinion, they were really better for like after you had a barbecue or something like that, in my opinion. The box was still nice. And usually here in Italy, this is the thing that I wanted to show you guys. This is a ticket basically that certifies that the tobacco has been taxed. This is like a tax sticker. So if you ever come here to Italy and you see this little sticker on the tobacco, that's basically like a tax stamp. Basically, that's what that is. And they usually put these across the cigar boxes and tubes and things like that. There's still another one. I had to buy two. I mean, I smoked some other ones, but I don't know what happened to the boxes. I think I gave them to somebody. So you have your Gustares. I think these are Dominican Republic, I think. The Gustares, this is a metal, glass tube. And then we go down to, these are Belinda. I think these are from, where are these from? Cuban, yeah, it says right here 100% Cuban tobacco on the side right there. So this is, yeah, Belinda. And then going back down to your classical Romeo Julietas. These are really good cigars. I like number 2s more than other ones and things like that. I mean, I really love these. That's one of my favorite cigars right there. That's one of my top. So another one of my favorite ones right here, Joya de Monterrey. And again, I'm just stressing that I know people have different tastes in cigars. I mean, excuse me if I'm not showing other cigars. It's just that me personally, I smoke, you know, these brands basically. And one thing that I really hate about sometimes here in Italy when they have cigars like this, especially Cubans, is that they put these stickers on here, and these stickers were never here before though. These are basically stickers that are saying, you know, smoking is bad, or, you know, you might get lung cancer and this and that, you know, and I feel that, I mean, in the sense that, like, if these are going to be given out as like a present or like a gift to somebody, I mean, you don't want to have this, you know, this paper, you know, this sticker all over the, I mean, I usually take them off because, see, as they put it right across the name. I mean, to me, I think that's just, you know, it really takes away, like, if you have to gift these to a friend or something, or if you buy them, like the Cuban cigars here in Italy, and then bring it back to your own country. I mean, it's just kind of, it's kind of annoying, but that's what you have to deal with when you're buying cigars here in Italy. The all-famous Punch from Cuba. This is a really nice, tiny cigar. This one was good. I still remember this. This is, I think I took the filler out of there. But anyway, going ahead, we got Partagas. This is the Coronas Senior from Partagas. Just to give you an idea, I have another Partagas here too. This was the Deluxe, the Partagas Deluxe. Yeah, Cuba. These were 2 good cigars. Romeo Giulietta, you got your usual Churchills. These are just Churchills, basically. If you compare the 2 Romeo Giuliettas, the difference in the size. And you have your Romeo Giuliettas, your tiny ones. Me personally, I'm more of a bigger cigar lover, but sometimes, you know, you don't have the time to sit there and smoke a big cigar, so basically. Moving on, we have, that's the thing though, I don't know why they didn't do it here in Italy. Here in Italy, they got bags like these, but this was from Switzerland, and when I went to Switzerland, basically they gave me the box of Davidoff, and here I kept some of the bands from some other cigars that I've smoked in the past. Alec Bradley, I don't know if you guys know Alec Bradley. Let me show you something about Alec Bradley here. So when you go to any tobacco place that sells Cuban cigars sometimes here in Italy, they'll give you these bags where it's ziplocked, basically. You can ziplock the bag to keep your cigars fresh. And that's a really neat thing that I really love. And in the back, as you can see, Eco en Cuba. Cuban, you know, Eco en Cuba, totalmente a mano, like totally by hand, made in Cuba. Habanos, as usual. So moving on, basically, I wanted to show you guys this bag, and this bag is really special because it's dedicated to Alec Bradley, and I don't know if you guys know who Alec Bradley is. Alec Bradley basically is, from what I understood, is it was a guy from Florida. He went to Cuba and he found out that a few factories in Cuba that were making Cuban cigars was going to shut down. So what he did, he basically bought 4 factories that were closing down, and he started to make his own cigars. And this is basically one of the bags, as you can see. Little same Ziploc bag where you can, like, you know, the little Ziploc where you can keep your cigars fresh, you know. And this one was dedicated to Alec Bradley, if you can see that. Sorry, I'm having problems with the camera here, but anyway, yeah. If you don't smoke cigars, how do I know I can trust you? And right there you can see Alec Bradley. I love his cigars. I mean, I think he's one of the great innovators in the cigar world. I mean, I know people like more other traditional cigars, but me personally, I think he's doing really great strides in the cigar world. So that's just one little thing I wanted to show you guys here, because this is beautiful. I mean, I wish they did more of this stuff, but it was kind of like a one-time kind of anniversary type of thing. So yeah, that's one of the things that I wanted to show you guys. And let me see if I have some more bands here to show you just the different kinds of cigars that you can get here in Italy. You got your Oliva, cigars. This was a really good one. What is this right here? Oh, your Torano. Got your Toranos over here. And moving on to Camacho. I have smoked a Camacho before. Camacho, this was pretty good. So we're moving on to, Garcia and Garcia. This is another one that I'm starting to love. I've just been trying this lately though. I have to tell you the truth, this is one that I smoked basically like a month ago probably. I just saw these in the store, and these are really good cigars. Garcia and Garcia, if you want to check out the, So let's see what else we got here. Mecanudo, I forgot about these. Mecanudo. They have Mecanudo cigars over here. Mecanudo, they are really, really good cigars if you don't know about them. So moving on, I don't think I have any more bands in here. Wait, maybe there's one down there. Nope. There's a band down here. Let me see. There's a band in here somewhere. There we go. And this is what I was talking about before. Alec Bradley basically has the post-embargo. This is another one of his cigars that he made from one of his factories, basically. So that's pretty much it for these. And now we're going to move on to Italian cigars. Okay, so we get to a cigar now that I think all of you guys are anxious to know about. And that is the famous Italian cigar known as the Toscanelli, or the Toscanello for a single cigar. And basically the coolest thing about the Toscanelli that you probably didn't know is that the Toscanelli has, the tobacco has been fermented. So what does that mean? That means that these cigars, if they're kept in a good place, can be kept indefinitely without the use of a humidifier or like a humidor for that reason. So and the thing that you're going to find is that since the tobacco has been fermented, you're going to find that the tobacco is a little bit more stiff than most other tobaccos you find. And lately here in Italy, what they've been doing is making a whole bunch of different kinds of variety, as you can see here. We have your white Toscanello. I'll show you right here. It's your white Toscanello. These are basically Toscanelli that are like grappa flavored, you know, like almost wine, like kind of wine flavored. And then we go down to your Toscanello Rosso, which is like coffee flavored Toscanello. And then lately they've been making like a different kind of coffee one that's called Arabica, which would be like Arabic coffee flavored Toscanelli. And the reason why the colors, they put the white, red, and there's supposed to be a green one too. Just imagine they have the smaller ones like these, the ones that are this small that have the green. So what you have is green, white, and red, the Italian flag. That's even the big ones like this. And this is a little bit different. It's always the same thing. It's always a Toscanello, if you can see the size. These are a little bit bigger instead. These, if you look at the full size, they would look kind of like this. They're almost like two Toscanelli put together, basically. And that's the way they look when you take them out of the box. They don't have like a big end with a thin tip, you know. Both tips on both sides are thin, and then in the middle they get nice and thick, so you can just cut them in half wherever you want if you want to just smoke just half of it and things like that. And Garibaldi here, these were dedicated to Garibaldi Maria Giuseppe, which is basically the famous Italian general. And they have another one of these called the Soldati, and it's a green box. box, and that's dedicated, I think, to the First and Second World War soldiers. I think that was like a dedication to them. So this is just kind of like a tribute. And the thing that's different about these is that they have a different mix of tobacco that's in the cigar. So one little fact that I want to point out that I don't think many people know this, but the movies, if you think about Western movies like Clint Eastwood and stuff like that, the director, I think, was Italian, and I found out that they were actually, in the movies of Clint Eastwood, they were actually smoking Toscanelli. So if you're ever wondering, you know, what kind of cigar was Clint Eastwood smoking, he was smoking, you know, the original Toscanelli made here in Italy, basically. So that's just another fun fact if you want to know that. So point out the last thing that I want to talk about with these. Since the tobacco in these cigars are really strong, like in the sense that like it has a strong taste, and plus the tobacco is really firm. It's not soft. I mean, it's still kind of soft, but it's not as soft as like a Cuban cigar. So me personally, what I do, I don't know how many of you guys are into dipping cigars into cognac or whiskey and things like that, or rum. Me personally, what I do, I'll just show you just an example of what I do with my cigars, with my Toscanelli. I go to like a store that sells these little tiny alcohol bottles, like those little tourist stores or something like that, and you can buy these little bottles right here for less than like €4 or €3 or something like that. And what I like to do basically, since the Toscanelli, they have the small tip right here at the beginning, so instead of dipping it in the traditional dip, what I do is I insert the cigar inside the bottles like this. Let me see if I can do this without breaking it. So I insert it like this, and you have to make sure that it's nice and firm, and then what I do is I flip it, and basically it fills the tip with alcohol basically, and I wait for a little bit, and I just shake it, just tap it a bit, you know. I wait for the alcohol to fill the cigar a little bit. And then when I flip it over and I take it out, what I do basically is I blow into this side of the cigar, and it takes out the extra alcohol in here. So that way when you put it back inside the box, you can save it for later and they're already dipped. Let me show you the blower here. Okay, so I just blew in there. So now I have a dipped cigar that I can neatly put back into the box, and I can save for later. That's just the way that I dip my cigars, for these cigars obviously, but everyone has their own way of smoking cigars. I'm not going to say that my way is better or anything like that. I mean, everyone has their own preference. I mean, I'm just showing an alternative for, you know, to dipping these kinds of cigars in general, the Toscanello. So that's all I wanted to say for the Toscanello. I mean, there are other kinds of Toscanelli. There's different types of flavors and things like that. I didn't want to buy a whole bunch of Toscanelli because personally I like more Cuban cigars, but sometimes I love smoking these when I want to have like a short, you know, cigar break or something like that. But other than that, me personally, I'm more for Cuban cigars. And to that effect, I just bought 2 cigars. I had to buy another one of these, the Garcia and Garcia, because these are really good. I love these. I'm starting to get attracted to these more and more every day. So, and then I have bought this one from Nicaragua. It's called Rosalones. Let me see if I could take this out so I can show you guys the cigar. Rosalones, Nicaraguan. It smells pretty good. I mean, it's a pretty good cigar, I guess. I still haven't tried it. I'm going to try it later on, probably, you know, I mean, when I have the time to do that. So basically, this is the end of the presentation of the kinds of cigars. Obviously, like I said at the beginning of the presentation, here are the cigars that I'm not. These are not all the cigars that you can get here in Italy because it's too much to film. There's too many cigars, and plus because I don't think any tabacceria would let me film their store. So, yeah, if you come in here to Italy, you're gonna find anything from Avo to. I mean, it's a lot of cigars basically. Like in any tabacceria that you go, you're gonna find lots of cigars. And as you can see here, even the Toscanelli have the little fiscal tag that says that the tobacco has been taxed. So if you're ever wondering what these are just like a tax, how do you say, like a tax stamp basically for any kind of tobacco that's coming to Italy. So that's pretty much it for the Toscanello. So back to the video, the rest of the video. Okay, so the first thing you must be thinking is, where can I buy tobacco in Italy? And one of the best places that you can find tobacco is your local tabacceria, basically. I'll give you the spelling here. This is how it's spelt. And basically, since in Italian, the E's and the I's are pronounced differently. So if you were to say E in Italian, it's pronounced eh. And instead, if you were to pronounce I in Italian, it would be pronounced E. So the pronunciation goes ta, ba, che, like che, ria. That's basically the pronunciation, and the spelling obviously is different, as you can see. So one thing about the tabacceria is that you want to understand that other than the tabacceria, there's also other places where you can buy tobacco. For instance, the automatic machines that you find on the outside of tabacceria, which are usually open 24/7. Otherwise, there's certain shopping malls that you can go to that have their own tabacceria inside the shopping malls. And the beauty about the shopping malls is that sometimes they can be open all the way until 9 o'clock at night, so you can still have a chance to, buy whatever tobacco products that you want. And then other than that, you also have some bars and some restaurants too, that inside they have like a small section behind the bar or next to the bar that they sell cigarettes or even cigars. If you find some, I think most of the older bars might have like a selection of cigars too, but most of the restaurants and bars, they usually have cigarettes instead of cigars. Most tabacceria will hold cigar humidifiers, or some tabacceria will have like a whole cigar room where you can smoke your cigars and also buy cigars from the cigar room. For that reason, if you're a connoisseur, like if you like to have a cigar room to sit down in, some of these tabacceria have actual cigar rooms where you can sit down and smoke your cigar without having outside interference, so to speak. But on the other hand, I mean, why would you smoke here in Italy on the inside when the outside is so beautiful? It's just Okay, so as I was saying before, basically, ever since the law passed about smoking indoors in restaurants and clubs and things like that, it's not exactly said that you can't smoke on the outdoor patios, because sometimes these restaurants and stuff like that, they usually have outdoor patios where they have restaurant tables set up in the outside, and in these places, usually you can smoke there without having any problems. Generally, here in Italy, it's more acceptable to be smoking cigarettes in these open areas. So if you do want to smoke a cigar in these outside patio areas of restaurants and things like that, it's common courtesy to ask the person next to you or the table next to you, or even the tables that are around you, if they don't mind you smoking a cigar, because obviously people are eating, and usually cigars, make more smoke than cigarettes. So that's just something to take into consideration. Otherwise, is if you're walking through the city or walking through one of the town centers and things like that, you're going to notice a particular occurrence that happens sometimes if you find other people, especially Italian men, and usually the older men that are smoking cigars in the street. It's part of the culture, part of the tradition. It's called, being, how do you say, a gentiluomo. To be a gentiluomo means to be a gentleman, and that carries on even to the present day. It's not exactly in fashion like it was in the 18, the old traditional way, but it still carries on today with some people. So me personally, I've noticed that even me sometimes when I smoke and I walk through a town center or something like that, I generally get respect from older people that are smoking cigars too, and this is basically what that would look like if you were to find yourself smoking and cross somebody else that is enjoying a good cigar too. So. So in this point of the video, you may be wondering, how come the town looks so deserted and how come there's not that many more people in the town? And that's because I filmed this in August, and basically in August here in Italy, most of the Italians go on vacation, and we're talking about maybe like the last 3 weeks of August. So on the flip side, you're going to find that still, even though lots of Italians are on vacation and lots of stores are closed, at nighttime some of the restaurants, the bars and the disco bars, and maybe even some clubs might be still open at nighttime basically. And most of the times, if we're talking about restaurants and disco bars, they usually keep open until about 2 o'clock or like 3 o'clock maybe even. It's kind of rare over here for a bar or a restaurant to keep open until 3. Usually that's because most people strike up conversations with the restaurant staff or the owner of the restaurant and things like that. So you're going to find that the people that work in the restaurants will sometimes, be really happy to talk to people, especially if you're from a different country. So you're going to find that really welcoming in that sense if you stay at nighttime at a restaurant and things like that. And another thing that's beautiful about it, I mean, even though you don't find as many people as you would, say, like if you were going to Rome at nighttime or Milan at nighttime or Venice at nighttime, the difference here in Veneto, like in the Veneto region, I mean, I can understand, yeah, even Venice though too, is that there's hardly any crime at nighttime, so it's generally safe to walk around at nighttime over here. But just remember that, like I said, the restaurants close at 2 or 3 usually. So usually around that time at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, the bars start to start serving for obviously most people usually ask for like a toast or like a coffee so they can pick themselves back up from drinking a little bit too much maybe, or had a big meal that they need something to digest before they, drive back home and that sort of thing. So, and I'm just going to end the video here, talking about that basically, and I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope to, do some other videos in the future talking about Bassano and grappa basically, or wine and that sort of thing. So stay tuned.